Okay, let's talk about this filter that we have right here. If we go underneath the filter inside of Photoshop for video, you'll notice that my volume's a little high. We have the video filter deinterlace option right here. So what this could be used for is if you're inside a video and working in Premiere or even in Final Cut or any video editing application, what happens is when you're trying to take a still image out of a video, because right now I have some video footage that you're looking at, and if I take a still image out of the video, like this Heinz ketchup box right here, I can turn this frame of video into a still image and use it somewhere else. To do that in Premiere, if I go underneath File, Export, Frame, it'll allow me to export this picture out as a still image. So if I go under File, Export Frame, I can give it a name. I'm going to call this Ketchup. We'll call it Ketchup 2 because we already had Ketchup. If I hit Save, it'll export this frame that we just had out as a still image. I can open that up inside of Photoshop. In my messy desktop here. And one of the problems you'll see when you export frames of video is that you'll have your interlacing problem. So if we look at it, you can see the odd and even lines will show up in the still image. So that's what that filter inside of Photoshop can be used to fix. If you go underneath Filter, you'll notice that under Video option there's one called Deinterlace, and if we go to the Deinterlace filter, it usually fixes it with the default settings. If I hit OK, you'll see that it usually clears up your video. Now here's the problem with exporting a still frame from Premiere into Photoshop, is that it won't do the pixels. If you look at the aspect ratio of this image, you'll notice it looks awful tall. Okay, because if you think about it, if you look at it over here in Premiere, this is in widescreen. What I have not been able to discover inside of Premiere is how to export a widescreen video like this over to Photoshop. Okay, the reason why is when you go File, Export Frame, it'll only do square pixels for some reason. If I go over here, remember this is it. If I go underneath Image, Pixel aspect ratio, you'll notice that it says square. See that? It will not export out. So the other thing you would have to do is if I was going to mix this back with my video, I was going to mix it back in with my video, I would have to come here and go under Pixel aspect ratio and go back to this. Now it's correct to go back into the video. So just keep that in mind if you were going to export a frame out of your video, that you'll need to do two things: deinterlace like you saw, as well as change the pixel aspect ratio. Okay, so those are two common problems. I haven't found a solution to that yet. If I go and I look underneath Premiere, though, there is some options inside Premiere that will help you to fix up that interlacing. So if we go underneath again, let's try it again. You find the frame you want to export. Let's say I want to export, let's say this one right here. And you can see the interlacing problems on the monitor over here. See over here? See along the pillars, along the wall, the pillar of the house or of the building. So if I go underneath File, Export Frame, again, File, Export Frame, there is some options that are underneath here. If you go underneath Settings right here, see the settings right here? There's different formats. You can go bitmap, GIF, Targa, and TIFF. Okay. Bitmap is just fine. GIF is the problem with GIF is what? What would be? Well, it could have an animated GIF on a website, but what else is the problem with GIF? Color levels. How many colors is the GIF? Only 256 colors. So if you choose GIF, your colors palette's going to go way down. So you don't want to do that. Targa is a special format usually used with a Targa card. It's a card that you would put in your computer. And then TIFF is a nice and compressed. That would work also. But if you choose Windows Bitmap and then go under Video here, see under Video right here? It says right here, see it says Pixel Aspect Ratio 1.2. And look how it says 720 by 480. But every time I've ever done it, it's always giving me square. So I really don't know if I'm doing something wrong here or what. And then there is underneath keyframing, there is a deinterlace. See how it says deinterlace right here? I could click that, and that may clean up the odd and even lines too. But again, I'm telling you, even though it says 1.2 widescreen pixel aspect ratio, it tends to be square. If I hit OK right here, give it a name. Let's give it a name. Let's give it a name. Ketchup 3. Hit export. Let's go over to Photoshop. Let's open it up. There's our Ketchup 3. Okay. If I look at it, underneath image, pixel aspect ratio, it's still square. So I really don't know if it's something I'm doing wrong or what. In order to fix this up, I usually go back to widescreen like that. Okay, but you'll notice the deinterlacing kind of fixed a lot of the deinterlacing problems. You see that? Now I don't have to use the deinterlace because I clicked that deinterlace inside of Premiere. Did you guys all see that? Okay, so there's a little bit more Photoshop, and then we can project this up onto our monitor again. To project it up on your monitor, you can go under File, Export, Video Preview, hit OK, and there it is up there on the screen. So again, what I usually use the hold of the video to export a still image. I like to use that still image if I'm going to hold a video frame for a while. You know what I mean by hold? Say you have a video playing and you want to stop on a picture and hold it for a while. I would export it as a still image like this, save it, and import it back into Premiere, and then I can drag it as long as I want in the timeline, right? Do you know what I mean? Okay, let's hit the stop here. You get the idea.